Okay, let's let me lower my mic. There we go. Let's do list filtering. So it says in this kata, you will create a function that takes a list of non-negative integers. So we get non-negative integers in strings in array, and we're going to return a new list with the strings filtered out. Okay, so we're getting a list. Well, we're getting an array of non-negative integers and strings, and what we need to do is pretty much filter out these strings. So 1AB015 becomes 1015, and so on 15AB. So we're getting rid of the strings. Given this input array of numbers and letters, we need to output an array with the letters taken out. Okay, let's go ahead and go to train here. I'll copy this, and I will go to my IDE, bring that over. There we go. Copy that. So we got list filtering. So what we want to do first is our prep work. Like this. So we have prep, and we want to put in our parameters there. So what is our input that we're getting? It takes a list of non-negative integers and strings. We'll put as array, or we'll just put takes an array of non-negative integers and strings. So something like this, for example. And what we're going to return is a new list with the strings filtered out. New list with the strings filtered out. And so that looks something like this. I hope I grabbed the right one. Yep. Example, see above, BOVE, or we can just do this as well for our examples. And we went over the examples in the beginning. So it's 1, 2, AB, and we want to take out these strings. So that just gives us 1 and 2. Let's do some pseudocode. So before we even do pseudocode, let's go ahead and do a console.log, and we'll go ahead and set up our function. Give it some data. Let's go ahead and give it this array right here. Let test array equal this right here. So then we can go ahead and put test array. Wait, nope. We want test array down here. Cool. So anything we put in here, console.log our array. So this should just give us back our array. What is wrong with this? Yeah, it's just giving us back our array. Yeah, we can just kind of blow this up. We don't need that anymore. Cool. So we got that going on. So now what we want to do is take this array and filter out these strings. So what we can do is use the slice function. So the slice method is a method that allows us to cut or manipulate arrays that happen in the middle. So you of course have the pop, and you have the, I think it's shift. So if we do a shift, it would get rid of the first number, and if we do a pop, it would get rid of the last number. But if we want to manipulate anything in the middle, we would need a slice, or splice. I'm sorry, splice, not slice, splice. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So what I want to do is I'll do a for loop. So I want to iterate over the array, and if that iteration that I'm in, so it's that RI, if that element ends up being a type of string, what you do if this type type, so if this type array right here over our iteration is equal to a string, then what we can do, so we go here, is this a string? Nope. Is this a string? Nope. Is this a string? Yes, this is a string. So what we want to do is get rid of this so we can use the splice method since we already know the index of it here. So if it's equal to a string, then we want to splice that index. So we would use splice at this index, and we want to remove 1. So that's how the splice method works. You give it an index and you let it know how many you want to remove. So then that gets rid of this right here. So it would go through it. Let's just copy this right here. Comment that. So what it will do, it will go through here and it says, is this a string? No, it's not a string, so it leaves it alone. Is this a string? No, it's not a string, it leaves it alone. And it gets to this point right here and it says, okay, this is a string. So what do? We're going to splice at this point here. So that would actually be like r.splice, because we want to splice this array, and it returns this array with this right here removed. But what happens is once we splice that, it messes up our indexing. So what I'm going to do is do a index number minus minus, because once we get rid of this, if our index is 0, 1, 2, our next one would be 3, and this one goes back to 2 again. So our index will be 0, 1, 2, 3. So once we delete this, I would be looking for 3, but it's on 2 right here, so it's 0, 1, 2, and it just goes to 3 for that index. So that's why I'm going to reset the I. And once we do that, we can just return the new array with the strings filtered out. So let's see what that looks like when I code everything. So right now I'm going to iterate over the array. So let's do a for loop. So for let I equal 0 while array.length is less than I. What I'm going to do is just increase that index, and I said if the type of this array at this index, or this character at that index, let's actually do if it's not a number instead of if it's not a string, or if it's a string. So what we're going to do, if it's not a number, then we're going to do something about it. So if it is a number, we just won't do anything with it. So if it's not a number, what we want to do is go ahead and take that array at that point, and then we're going to splice it out. So we know what index that is because we're already on I. So we're going to splice at that index, and we're going to remove 1. Then like I said, we're going to put our index counter backwards 1, because again, like I said, it's going to just, our I would go to 3, but we took 1 out of our array, so that shortens the length of it. And then we're going to return our array, and this should work. Let's go ahead and test this out right here. So that did not work, looks like. 1, 2, 23. Let's make sure we're running that. And filtered list, this test array. Okay, what happened here? R.splice. We're splicing at this index. Oh, I did this wrong. This is backwards. When I is less than r.length. There we go. And that is it. We can test this out on on Codewars. I think this is code. We don't need the comments. Go ahead and test this out. Okay, R is not defined. Okay, that is because they want L right here, L right there, and return L. There we go, L. Hopefully we pass this time. There we go, we passed. And let's attempt all of them. Okay, we passed all of the tests, and that is it.